Hi, everybody. It's me, your friendly adult communicator, Tommy Turntable. How you doing? But it's a beautiful day outside. You couldn't ask for a whole heck of a lot more. Oh, it's about 80 degrees outside. I was out in my swimming pool. It was wonderful. You know,
Wow.
I took off my trunks and waved my dick at my neighbors. Thank God there's a fence around the yard.
Yeah, is it bigger than Dickie V's? The
God.
fence.
Yeah, right. Nobody has a bigger
Bigger
fence than
fence
me,
than me,
baby.
baby.
All right. Dick Vitale did come out with an update. He had more
Oh,
testing because he has a recurring cancer, and it just keeps recurring and recurring. Hi, Stephen. How you doing? Nice to see you. Deep in the heart of Texas. Yeah, but he said his tests came back okay, but
oh, good.
but he's not saying that he's cancer free, but that whatever the regimen they're doing is helping
Oh,
him. So we continue to hope that. We have Dickie V in our midst because
oh
without
God,
Dickie V,
yeah,
I mean, I don't know that I could possibly continue to do Dickie V impressions, you know?
yeah. Life would be impossible generally without Dickie V. I think
And
the
hello,
whole
Jason.
universe revolves around him, and everything would just spin off into orbit. Yeah,
I'll tell you, you know something? You'd be tired walking through my great room.
I
Okay.
would be. Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
Stephen Rose is saying the football season
oh
can't
God,
come soon
no,
enough. So
no.
before we go into any of this stuff, I wanted to. So much has been about sports scandal as far as players gambling,
And
officials making very questionable calls, the outcomes of games themselves being questioned in so many different ways. Even in the World Cup, people complaining about
yes,
things that were
political
ignored, penalties.
interference
Yeah,
and
that,
female journalists that are horny. Yeah, all of this is all going on, isn't it?
yeah, absolutely. And so now we have one more log to throw on the
Oh
fire.
no, 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 no! Do I want to
Yes,
hear
we
this?
yeah we do. L.A. Clippers star Kawhi Leonard, whose sponsorship deal with the now bankrupt Green Banking Company is at the
Oh my
center of an
God!
NBA investigation, and he had an undisclosed sponsorship agreement worth millions of dollars with the company that designed the Clippers video board inside the Intuit Dome. Former ESPN contributor Pablo Torre reported this story. He interviewed someone identified as an anonymous high level source under contract for Intuit Dome who alleged that the sponsorship deal was, quote, 1,000% a way to circumvent the salary cap. It was
Wow!
funneling money from the Clippers through Daktronics back to Kawhi Leonard. He also
Wow!
cited an anonymous former Clippers official who said they knew that Leonard had a sponsorship with Daktronics, the South Dakota based company that designed the Halo board, which is the largest double sided Halo display built in an arena. Uh, they put it into the Clippers facility, you know,
Yeah,
in
it's amazing.
2024. Yeah, it's
Well,
a,
at least
yeah.
it looks amazing on TV. I've never obviously been there, so don't know what it looks like in real life. But
Right now, it's unclear when Leonard actually began his sponsorship deal, but it's interesting. The result of this is nobody now is even going after Kawhi Leonard as a free agent because there is something very unholy about the whole thing. And I'm going to keep reminding people, and I'm going to be the one guy screaming about this
right,
because nobody else that I watch, and I watch a lot of the podcasts just to get an idea of where people are coming from. Nobody is taking the hard line that I'm taking, and that is that the more money that is in sports, the
the worse
more
it gets.
money that
Yeah.
organizations are putting in, That wealthy billionaires are buying sports franchises, the more cheating and the more dishonesty that we're seeing. And it's the same thing with college football. The more money that gets thrown in into the pile, the more corrupt the whole thing becomes. And and here is our man. We don't get to see Stephen very often.
Yeah.
So
Appreciate you guys for having me on.
yeah, it's always good seeing you, and I know that you probably are having all kinds of fun in Texas, and I don't need to know what kind of fun because I'm just not that kind of cow, But hey, fun is fun, and as long as you're happy with your life, Stephen, go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and you know what, Moo, about the whole Kawhi situation? That's why I wanted to come in here. It's just nothing more than what they call legalized money laundering. And this just kind of paints a bigger picture of what other teams are doing behind closed doors.
Absolutely.
When it comes to funneling money like that.
Yeah, try to, beat the rules, And that's exactly what it is. It's no different in the stock market and the investments field of trying to get ahead of the game.
Allegedly,
it's no different than insider trading. It's nothing different than kickbacks.
Yeah, and why wouldn't people who do one thing do the other? You see, that's the thing that I don't like and I don't appreciate it. But it's just one more blotch in the landscape of professional sports. I wanted to do two things today, one with the Guardians and one with the Browns, to compare circumstances with two teams that are obviously losing teams, and to make some predictions, in essence, and some statements that I think will bear out truth and fruit later on. The Guardians, I start out with. The Guardians are obviously a ship lost at sea. And you have two things happening. And I am again going to use my personal business experience because people are wondering what's happened to the attention span of the Guardians players. Where are their heads at? Because it's certainly not focused on the games they're playing. I was always an individual who purchased radio stations that were not doing well. All right. I was what was called a turnaround artist. That was my job in the industry. And I bought stations and I would buy low and sell high. That was the deal. Now, I had hoped, I was in Flint, Michigan for 9.5 years. I really wanted to be in upstate New York for many more than the 2.5 years I was there. But, laws, and I've told that story a million times, but circumstances dictated. Every time I went into a building of a radio property that was for sale, the staff was listless. They weren't doing their jobs properly. They were forgetful. They were sloppy. They felt that they were in a certain comfort zone and that comfort zone was going to go away because whoever the new owner was going to be the great dictator. And the Guardians are in a position where their minority owner could very well, in this offseason, purchase more and become the majority owner of the Guardians. That's the first thing that I can point out, because it is impossible, and I'm saying this really not to be inflammatory, but to be accurate. It is absolutely impossible that all of these players would be making blunders, mental errors, physical errors, that coaches would be sending runners at the wrong time or not sending runners, that people would be setting up all left-handed hitting lineups. There is no way that these, players can't possibly come to Cleveland, like the pitcher did yesterday. Here's a guy who was like 12-3, and he was an all-star, right? He comes in against the worst team in the National League, the New York Mets, and gets pounded like a $50 whore, okay? And there was nothing about him, 93-mile-an-hour fastballs and breaking pitches. It looked no different than Saccone to me. It looked no different at all. And you say to yourself two things. Did the Guardians really think that a guy who's 31 years old, who'd been playing in Japan, who just happened to put together a great half of a season and become a one-time all-star, do they really think that that kind of player was what they needed to put into their starting rotation? And again, it's just waiting for the other shoe to drop. This guy never was 12-3 in the major leagues. That's why he was playing in Japan. It was where he made his bread and butter. He wasn't good enough to make it in America. And now all of a sudden, the Guardians go all in and they get this guy. So there's two other things besides the ownership, possible ownership change to the team. One is the front office, and one is the field management of the team. What I'm talking about when I say, gosh, did you really want that guy who just was a 3-year pitcher in Japan and he doesn't really have lighted up stuff? Is that what you really wanted to do here? And it almost looked like these were panic moves just to try to infuse some life into the roster. But then I asked myself the obvious question. We've seen these players play before, and they've never done this. And so Arias has always been an underperformer, but, forgetting to cover third base, throwing balls away. And now you saw Rocchio drop a ball game for no good reason on a 2-out in the bottom of the ninth with a 1-run lead and just bungle a play completely. Players not knowing the difference between balls and strikes. Angel Martinez swinging at pitches that literally bounce in the dirt 2 feet in front of home plate. It is like a contagious disease. And that disease is more likely than not just a present attitude of how unhappy, unfocused, undisciplined the players are because of either a potential ownership change, which really shouldn't affect them, or the idiot who's in the dugout making these horrendous decisions night after night. It's like, we got to bring Matt Festa in again. I'd understand if Matt Festa had a 12-inch dick and I was making a porn movie, I'd want to get him on camera as many times as I possibly could. But Matt Festa is not a 12-inch dick pitcher, okay? This guy is just, he gets beaten up whenever he comes into the game, and he fucks up, and yet he's still on the roster. And I think players have just given up, and they're in coast mode. And as long as Stephen Vogt, and it's not just him, but it's Rugi Odor, and it's Fink, the hitting coach, and I got to be honest, the guy, Carl Willis, Sasquatch, our pitching coach, who's been so good for a long time, I mean, he's ready for the rocking chair. So I'm looking at this and saying, the only way that so many players can be blighted this way is something in the environment around them. And you can sit there and you can start complaining about this guy or that guy. I think Manzardo got a raw deal. I think Manzardo hit 27 home runs last year. He proved that he can do it in the big league level. Yet Rhys Hoskins, who's 35 years old and hitting a 179, he's still on the roster while Manzardo is being punished by going back down to AAA, and they say maybe you can find yourself there. But nobody wants to come back to the major leagues once they go down there. I mean, all you have to do is look at Cooper Ingle. They brought him up, put him in left field, fucked his head up. He couldn't hit, and he's been hitting a .438 since he's been down at AAA. And he's hitting home runs left and right. And you know why? It's because he's not with the Indians. Or, excuse me, the Guardians. I just want to call them Indians again because Guardians, again, it just sounds like they're just cautious and on guard all the time and worried. And, you know, Guardians are like, you know, what are you guarding? What are you guarding? I mean, it's like, you know, Chief Wahoo at least was, you know, he could tomahawk your fucking scalp off. But, you know, Guardians. My God, it's like they can take care of your kids if you go out to the theater for an evening. That's what Guardians do. And I'm just... So Cooper Ingle is hoping that he'll be the next one traded in a deal that he can go to a real Major League Baseball team and not have to go back to the idiot who forced him to play left field when he didn't know how. They wonder how hitters develop this psyche. And it's with Kyle Manzardo. It's like if you play him every 3 fucking days, you know, he's never going to get into a groove. You don't have to be a genius to figure that out. So a very, very simple thing that the Guardians could do is to fire Stephen Vogt and the coaching staff. Because I guarantee you, having gone into buildings before where people's hopes and drives were just torn apart, that there's always hope that the new people who come in will understand and get it. And that was, I didn't really fire very many people when I came into the radio properties that I bought. I didn't just go in and just start with a machete and tearing people up. Those people wanted to win. They were being held back. These players want to win. You can't tell me that Stephen Kwan is running into walls to catch fly balls because he doesn't give a fuck. You just can't. Now, I would believe that Rhys Hoskins is just holding on by his fingernails to a major league career that is over. But, I mean, you can't tell me that, you know, Rocchio can't get his head back straight after the first half of the season that he had. And he's never been a guy who just makes blatant errors in the field. And you just can't tell me that people who we know are better are all underperforming at the same time. And people are trying to protect Stephen Vogt. And the reason is Cleveland fans, there's a segment of them who are just fucking ignorant. Stephen Vogt, two-time manager of the year. Like that, you know. Well, how many times was Kevin Stefanski the coach of the year?
I think twice, right?
Yeah, that's right. Two. You
First
stupid
year
fucks. Yep. And what would Stephen Vogt have been last year if the Tigers hadn't melted down and they got hot in one part of the season? They would have been underachievers like they are this year. Stephen Vogt was riding a freight train of luck. That's it.
Well, Moo, if it makes you feel any better, the American League is trash. I mean, outside of Boston Red Sox's 24 out of 26 wins, or 24 wins out of the last 26 games, which they're playing one hell of a baseball run right now, there's not really anything to talk about in the American League. In fact, baseball's just become a marathon this year. Outside of the Dodgers scandal and all the players are signing, should there be a salary cap in the lockout, they're not really talking about anything in baseball right now.
And hi to Bobby Elcott. How you doing? Hey, the days are growing short. We're going to be up there. You got to save your best performance for us, Bobby. Not that I'm putting pressure on you, but Bobby's in here because he's got the 12-inch dick with the Tigers right now. The Tigers have just, started winning some games and watching the Guardians just go into the bucket. So, yeah. And
Moo, is there anything other than the Dodgers acquiring all these players in the lockout? Baseball seems like it has no subject to talk about outside of that.
yeah, realistically, I've never been. The slowest time for this podcast is baseball season. I don't relate to baseball fans because they're so wound up in all this statistical mumbo jumbo that, when guys are just failing in a human sense on the field, they want to go back to all these OPS kind of statistics and all these unheard of calculations. They're analytics people. And those who can't do teach, that's the old saying. Those people who have to rely strictly on analytics are people who don't know how to do what they're doing. That would be Jimmy Haslam. That would be Kevin Stefanski. I'm being serious because there's like this religion of statistics, and it doesn't work that way. You have to have instincts. And if you don't have an idea, a presiding, living idea of how you want to run a business and what kind of environment you want to infuse it with, you're not going to be successful.
But hey, Moo, there's only 4 teams right now that are 10 games above 500. One of them is the American League, and the other 3 are division leaders in the National League. Other than that, every team is subpar 500 or they're barely over the hump.
And that's the state of baseball right now.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like outside the Dodgers, and like every time I look on my Instagram or whatever, it's always about, did the Dodgers cheat? Why did Detroit take the bad deal? Nobody even talks about Boston winning 24 out of the last 26 games. I'm shocked baseball doesn't even run with that. They talk about the lockout coming. It's like there's nothing else to talk about in baseball other than the Dodgers and the lockout.
Yeah. Now, Hudella, if that's how you pronounce your name, did have a cat. It wasn't my cat. It was my wife's cat. Passed away a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I'm a dog guy. I'm a dog. And so Topaz the wolf, who's always around here, that you might see every so often if he jumps up on me. I'm a dog guy, not a cat guy. Although I did have a doctor once whose last name was Katz, but that was Katz, and he used to say to me,
"Oi,
how come you haven't paid your bill yet?" So, different kind of cats. Yeah. And I can't wait either, Bobby.
So, Moohead and Moose, man, has baseball been any entertaining this all? I mean, we're at 120 games, and
no.
Usually I'm fired up around this time, but I just really don't have the itch to watch baseball.
Baseball. Go ahead.
I have probably watched a grand total of maybe 25 innings all season.
Well, you're about 22 innings ahead of me.
Yeah, like
this show is so much more Browns football, Cavs basketball than it is baseball. Baseball to me is a dull, boring game, and that's why dull, boring people who are strictly into statistics,
Am I wrong for saying this, Moo? When the World Cup came on, I don't even like soccer, but I actually focused more on soccer in the 3 weeks that it was taking place than probably the last 2 or 3 years of baseball combined.
Okay, Steve, can I ask a follow-up on that? Explain why you felt that way, and then I will explain. I
guess it's because it's once every 4 years. It's the World Cup. But I don't know. It's something about the way they promoted it and just got me just hooked. And I said, you know what? I'll watch baseball after soccer's over. Right. Once that ended, I just had no urge to watch it.
Well, there was a lot of storylines in the soccer in America.
Well, that too. Messi's last year, Ronaldo's last year.
Yeah. So many storylines, and the games themselves are soap operas. And the release and build-up of tension when there's a goal scored, because it's a rare event, and sometimes it can be a spectacular event. And there's always controversy with people being fouled or not being fouled, or being penalties or not being penalties. There's always drama going on. In baseball, there is not fucking drama. And Lou can snore all he wants during this segment, but he knows
why does
I'm
baseball feel like it's endless? Like, even with the mound visits, the pitch count, it just still feels like a marathon at the end of the day.
You know what they could do to make it better? The only thing I could do to make baseball better, other than cut the number of games and cut the number of interleague games, would be to push the mound back another 5 feet so that the batters have more time to hit the ball, and then you fucking see batting averages go skyrocketing.
God, I really did get sleepy there. I mean, and once again, that final score 1-0. But boy, those little guys were running up and down the field, weren't they?
Yeah.
No,
Well,
no,
you
no.
even had the president of America defending somebody who got a red card who's a birthright citizen.
Yep.
So there you go. I mean, all sorts of crazy things happen.
So since we're on the topic of baseball, how does this end with the lockout, guys? Do you see the owners budging? What do y'all think about the salary cap? Should
It always ends up the same way. In baseball, they can't be sued. There's no antitrust laws that hold them. They will get what they want, and they know that. And now they're wealthier. They're so much wealthier now than they were, the last time that there was a walkout.
Oh, they can withstand 2 years of lockout. The owners.
That's right. Yeah.
So, do you guys believe there should be a salary cap or hard cap, or do y'all like it the way it is?
You know something? There should have been a salary cap a long time ago.
Yeah, I think it's too
from
late
the standpoint that. Yeah, but I mean, they've allowed the Yankees to stack their lineups on the Dodgers to literally get whatever they wanted. They allowed these organizations, some of them which are, again, inept, like the Yankees, who can't even get to the World Series, and then the Dodgers, who've won multiple ones in succession. It's all about, guess who got Scooble? The Dodgers, It's not good. And basketball's taking the same course. The NBA feeding the 76ers, and that's all you're going to read about is that group of players and LeBron. And you know something? I don't have any bad things to say about LeBron as a basketball player. And I think if you've watched this show as long as it's been on the air, I mean, that's the case. But as a person, he is obnoxious. He is, and he played ball. He played ball with a bunch of corrupt NBA owners. I'm sorry.
That he's very arrogant too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I understand that he's great at what he does. That you can be great at what you do and not be obnoxious, but he chooses the other route. So I'm not real. There will be a walkout, and the owners will just kind of twiddle their thumbs, and the players who mismanage their money and never forget that all of the owners are billionaires, but the players are not. The majority of the rosters of major league players, they're not, the LeBron Jameses. They're not the guys like Scooble, who has the nerve. Scooble's really a piece of work. He goes to the Dodgers to try to win an easy World Series, and he says, "Well, I hope in free agency next year the Tigers are in the conversation." I mean, of all the fucking nerve. Of all the fucking nerve. I mean, he's in a position where he can eat caviar, but the average Major League Baseball player is Fry,
Petey Halpin, My
right.
God, yeah.
The people who are either fighting to get into the league or fighting to stay in it. And that's what really bogs the whole situation down, because the biggest names in baseball don't want to give up what they got. And none of the owners will ever give up what they got.
No.
And it's that the working class baseball players will always be ignored. And so eventually, it'll be a cave-in, but somehow the owners will slip money under the table, just like they've done here with the Clippers. They'll slip money under the table for the given players they want to keep. It's dishonest, and it's not something that I...
But do you think the hard cap will help the teams like Pittsburgh or, the other ball clubs that seem to struggle every year to kind of have a competitive balance, or do you think it won't make a difference with the hard cap?
Well,
No, because it won't help teams that have shit organizations, and those are the teams that lose all the time. So no.
That you can count all the baseballs that are coming off bats at 108, 109, 110 miles an hour. But why is the hitting in baseball so much worse than it's ever been? And the reason is because the same people doing the same things. It's like it's all about hitting home runs, trajectory of the ball, the launch angle, all of that. And the guys who are, and it's terrible watching Stephen Kwan go through more than half the season trying to do what these idiots were asking him to do when he is just not capable of that.
Yeah.
And then going back to the way he is and hitting 400. You know what I mean? It's like, and people keep saying, how come the Guardians keep stranding all these men on base? And it's like, yeah, it's a huge problem. But how are the Yankees not scoring runs? How are all of these teams, the hitting statistics are absolutely putrid. What's going to kill baseball isn't whether there's a salary cap or not. It's becoming less and less entertaining.
Yeah.
And I mean, if the biggest innovation of the game is to allow teams 4 challenges because the umpires can't tell the difference between a ball and a strike, and that they're being paid to do this. I mean, some of these calls are, I've watched where the Guardians will run out of challenges because they never get anything right, and as soon as it happens, the very next inning there will be a ball that's all the way up here, and the umpire will call it a strike. Yeah,
Moo. Here's how bad baseball is. Every team in the American League has a chance, or the AL Central has a chance to make the wild card in the divisional round. The Rangers are winning 2 games under 500. The Guardians are half a game out. Detroit's 3 games out of the wild card.
Parity is a good concept, but not if it were trying to. It's like if what we were shooting for was the intelligence of RFK Jr., for example, parity would not be a good thing. Okay? Parity is supposed to be the rising flow of water and everybody seeking the higher level. Baseball's going the opposite direction.
There's, like I said, only 4 teams with 10 games above 500. And even then, two of them are struggling, the Dodgers and the Braves. Really, the Brewers are the only team, and Tampa Bay are the only 2 teams that stand out from the pack.
Yep.
And that's just right now. That's not even including the other 40 games. We haven't even tallied that in. But it's every team's either at 500, barely over, or under 500.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the answer to your question is baseball's got many, many more problems than the billionaires fighting over whatever they're fighting over, and the players getting the amount of money knocked down. To
address one more thing.
Fans aren't coming to stadiums. Fans aren't going to the fucking games. They don't. You notice you're not seeing any statistics about live viewing, not on television, but in the stadiums. I'm watching games of these, sub 500 teams. People aren't even coming to watch the games.
Nope.
Why would you?
Moo, do you think it's time to address the length of the season? I mean, I get it. I grew up on 162 games, but it's at a time now where I think we could reduce that number a little bit.
I would like to just erase the 4 months that they play the game.
Why?
I'm all in favor completely of a complete walkout, a permanent walkout. I don't even care about that game. That game is not relevant today. And I'm an old guy. I'm supposed to be one of these guys who's like, I'm a lover of baseball. Baseball isn't what it used to be. No. They used to have great base stealers, guys who were great slap hitters, guys who were great power hitters, teams that were based on speed, teams that were based on pitching, incredibly dominant pitchers like Don Drysdale and Gibson and, Nolan Ryan. And, today, I mean, the guy that just got shelled by the Mets that we just picked up he was 12-3 and dominating, and it's like he pitched for the fucking Washington Nationals.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, you had 8 teams per league. They played each other 21 times, 154 games a year. So you had 7 opponents, and you developed rivalries that were intense with every single fucking team in your league. And then you had a final round where the one league pennant winner would play the other league pennant winner they had never played before, sometimes never play again against each other in a World Series, and it's all over by the middle of October. What I would suggest, and this is another one of Moose's ideas, is that I've got a cat fight going on outside that I'll have to sort out in a minute, but take the top 8 teams from each league and have a couple expansion teams so that there's now 32 teams. Top 8 teams from each league, put them in what I would call a Premier League. Take the bottom 8 teams from each league, put them what I would call the second league, and then have promotion and relegation between those 2 leagues so that you have the top 8 teams playing the top 8 teams all the time, and then you have the bottom 8 teams playing the bottom 8 teams all the time to battle to get into that top league. And then there's a lot more teams.
There'd be a lot of lousy teams playing one another, and what are the fans going to think? It's like, we really feel good because we beat a team that had no legs?
The second league in England here in soccer is very competitive and full stadiums because they're trying to get promoted to the top league, and they have fierce rivalries in those leagues because they tend to play each other a lot all the time. There are full houses in the second division in England and the third division in
How many soccer games are there?
There are 46 in League Two. There are 38 in the Premier League.
In the whole season?
In the whole season.
Wow. And we're talking about 162 fucking games. Are you joking with me?
I'm not joking at all. Why would I fucking joke about this?
How could there not be more interest
in 120?
162 games. It's just overkill.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying. I'm saying go back to it. The season's decided within 60 games like it did in the COVID. You could go back to 100 games. So the fact is,
how about we not play the same teams in our division 20 times each? How about not that?
Yeah, I mean, you have rivalries and have fan interest. Who wants to go see the Texans play the bloody Minnesota Twins? No one gives a shit about that. No one gives a shit about the Mariners playing the fucking Marlins.
Yeah.
No one gives a shit about that.
But if they took your idea, those teams would be playing each other all the time in a second league.
2 separate leagues with 2 divisions of 8 and 8. So all the American League teams of 8 and 8 in the 2 separate leagues, all the National League teams of 8 and 8, and they play the other 7 teams 21 times, 154 games. The 2 winners go up to the top league, and the other one will go back.
Do I need a slide rule for this?
Huh?
I feel like I gotta have like an advanced arithmetic.
You don't understand promotion and relegation because that's something that America does not believe in.
I don't even know what relegation is. What the hell is that?
Imagine if the NFL did 162 games. Oh my God!
Other things other than that are outside of America. You don't. You really don't. You don't give a shit about anything outside of America unless it's Wimbledon, the Ryder Cup, and the Olympics.
My point was well, wait a minute. My point is a simple one. If they're playing 36 and 46 or whatever 42 games, and that just focuses the interest because you know that's how many games you're going to get, and then there's going to be outcomes.
Team home and away.
Yeah.
That's why.
I feel like the NFL has it structured so well. You only play so many games, and you don't play every team on your schedule on the conferences.
Yeah, in the Premier League, you play every team home and away. There are 20 teams in the Premier League. You play 19 games at home, 19 games away.
I get it. So I'm not arguing with you that would keep fan interest more. What we're talking about is 162 games a season when all but 3 teams are under 500.
Yep.
I mean, you're having more mediocre, sub-mediocre games, and the interest, people aren't coming to the games.
And not to mention, you got to play against each other 50 times, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense. And do you know what the baseball aficionados say? We've got to stop this inter-league playing stuff because we want to play more games against the American League. And so it's like, and now for the 34th time, it's the Anaheim Angels. Okay.
Yeah, the Guardians take on the Tigers for the 40th meeting this season.
Games are the ones that are not being visited. Those are the ones that have the lowest attendance. You can go look this up. I mean, look at how many times the Yankees and Red Sox play. They could play 50 times a year and they would still get sold out. When you have rivalry games against rivalry teams and you build that up over a course of years, then you have, I'm not saying this is an instant fix. I'm saying this is like a 10-year fix. You know?
I get your point, but
kind of like the Browns and the Steelers, except the Browns fans don't show up to that either.
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
I call for 120 games.
I mean, if you want to pick apart every possible thing because you don't fully understand what I'm saying, that's fine. But, you know, you're going to give me the ump.
So Moose, what do y'all think about a 120 game season? I think that's a fair number of games.
Yeah, but make it so you got to have 32 teams, so it's an even number. At the moment, they got 30, which is why they got 15 teams in each league, and why you have to have one interleague game every fucking day because there's not an even number of teams in each league. That's the first problem. So you need 2 more expansion teams or get rid of some teams so that it's down to 24 or some other manageable number. That's the first problem. The next problem is, you know, figure out a multiple of the number of teams in your league times the number of games you want to play. Make it 10 then. So if you're playing 12 other teams, then you've got 120 games. You know? It's not that hard.
Well, here's what I think. And I'll move on to football because I promised I would talk about the football situation.
Yeah.
The problems in baseball are many and varied. And when all of the talent is shifted to a few franchises, that becomes a big problem. That's the route the NBA has gone to, and it's a big mistake because there is no league parity. And that becomes and when fans stop losing hope that their home team can't win, then they're not going to support this. Maybe they'll support the sport in an internet kind of way in which they just jump on board and become fans wherever LeBron James plays or whatever.
You could have promotion and relegation in basketball and NFL too, and that would do the same thing. You know, it's not just baseball. I would suggest that for. In fact, it would probably work better in basketball.
I think the thing I believe and have believed about baseball, and I'm going to get off baseball because I don't talk about it that much because it puts me to fucking sleep, is when they start the season, it's too fucking cold in half the country. Yep. All right.
Oh, absolutely.
When they finish the fucking season, it's too fucking cold. So, I mean, the whole thing does, and it's like you try to hit an 100-mile-an-hour fastball in 36-degree weather with the wind blowing.
Yeah.
A wind chill of 28 degrees.
It's like
you try doing that.
It's like Don Cockroach kicking a brick.
Yes, and these guys can't hit in the middle of the summer.
So, before we change the subject, do we see a hard cap, yes or no, next year in baseball?
Lockout, no games.
I mean,
no.
Do we see a hard cap when the deal
no
is made?
Season?
Yeah. There's not going to be a season next year.
No season here.
And I hope that there will never be a season again, because I hate the pigs who own these teams now. And this is becoming more about the size of their penises than it is about, the good of the game and the future of the game. There is no future to these people. There's only present value. That's all there is.
Yeah.
And and we'll morph into football. For Jimmy Haslam, there's a new dome. It doesn't matter the quality of the team he has on the field. It is his future is not in Cleveland, it's in Brook Park, and his future is in how much money he can do selling land around a new building where the games will be played.
And if you look at that supposed dome, it's like an aircraft hangar instead of a dome. You look at some of the other domes that are being proposed, like in Kansas City, and the ones that are being built, I think, in Tennessee and Jacksonville and all that, they all look a hell of a lot nicer. And you know what? They cost more money than Haslam's airport hangar. So he is building this thing on the fucking cheap, and it's going to be cheap and nasty. And by the time 2050 rolls around, if God bless Steven's still alive to see that, and we won't be, but it'll have to be torn down and rebuilt. So that's my prediction for Jimmy Haslam.
Well, I have a prediction that I want to make, because through all the bullshit, who's going to be the starting quarterback? Is it going to be Deshaun, or is it going to be Shador? And all of this ignorant, without any basis of factual information, here's what I will tell you, you stupid fucks. 1, the owner of the team came out and said that they had a big swing and miss with Deshaun Watson, that the entire incident of them going after Deshaun Watson was a big mistake. And he came out and made his public announcement, almost a year ago, that it was like, that was a swing and miss.
Yeah, the old swing.
Yet
and
now, Deshaun Watson is, in many people's eyes, ahead in the quarterback race. And let me tell you how this works, because I've seen what Jimmy Haslam does, and I'm smarter than he is. He's got more money than I would ever have. But if he had to play in a level playing field in business with me, I would eat him fucking alive.
Facts.
You know what he's doing?
What's he doing?
This is really touched. You saw what he did with Joe Flacco. What he's going to do is he's going to try to justify this whole thing. He's going to say, I'm going to start Deshaun Watson at quarterback to build up his value so we can trade him to a team and end up at least getting something for him. And then he'll smile and say, look at the deal I made. And he destroyed the organization. But Deshaun Watson will be the starting quarterback with no intention whatsoever of him playing the entire season, not even close to him playing the entire season, because Jimmy just says, well, I'm going to get a top pick of a quarterback, so why should I win this year? If I start Deshaun, we lose. If I start Shador, we lose. And people are sitting there watching it, and it's like the offensive line is still jumping off, and it's like, they're trying to learn a new system, and they didn't understand the last system, and you're going to end up with Deshaun Watson as the starter and the fans booing, okay? Then he's going to trade Deshaun Watson, and these trained SEAL fans will go, oh, cheering when they, when they trade Deshaun Watson. And then Shador will be the starting quarterback and is like, no. And then, then it will be, he'll get hurt, and then the midget will play.
Yeah.
No, it won't be Green. It will not be Green. It will be Dylan Gabriel.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
So, if you're waiting for the Browns to win, kill yourself now. Eliminate football out of your repertoire. They're not going to win anytime soon. all Jimmy Haslam is doing is going to be trying to get something, like he tried to get something for Flacco, try to get rid of a guy. And I'll tell you something, Deshaun Watson, I can't tell you until I see him in game speed, but his arm isn't what it used to be.
No, it couldn't be. My arm isn't what it used to be either. So,
And not only, but he's had all kinds of injuries with his arm. So the ball's late getting there in practice. People are picking the balls off. He went through a stretch of 8 practices where he had 7 picks. I mean, you're looking at, and that's against a defense where it's like, which way did he go? Oh, which way did he go? There are, undrafted rookies who are stepping in front of. They were playing him. The Browns don't expect to win this year. And if Jimmy Haslam has his way, he talks up a good game. He's like, the idea is, the idea is to win more games. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
You're going to go all over again, and you're going to pick the wrong quarterback in the draft next year because that's what you do for a living. You do everything wrong. Then later on, you'll say, we swing and miss on that one. Yeah. But I sure got wealthier, didn't I? And
you know what I think going on in his tiny mind is that he's trying to assemble a team that's going to be halfway decent for when his airport hangar gets finally finished. So he probably's got in his mind this 4-year plan that we're going to suck for 3 years and we're going to have this interim coach in.
He's good at sucking every year. It's a strategy,
but it's not going to work, isn't it? So we saw Dick Jacobs do that 4-year plan with the old Indians from 1991 to 1994. Then Jacobs Field arrived, and we actually had a decent team in a decent stadium. Now, whether Haslam can pull off a decent team in a decent stadium, I sincerely doubt that. But I think that's the idea of Haslam Sports Group and his son-in-law and daughter-in-law and all the other dumb fuckers that run it. Yeah,
I remember when a dumb jock, a gifted guy like Dan Marino who had, did he have an arm, and, but you'd look at it and if you talk to him, it's like,
oh God, he was an idiot.
Not the smartest guy in the world. Right. Well, all you have to do is listen to Shadur and Deshaun. They were not valedictorians.
No.
Okay. No. I mean, to me, the most important thing about quarterbacks, and it's funny because Todd Monken was giving his overview of what he felt the most important values, as he put it, a quarterback, and he is talking about pre-snap responsibilities, which,
right.
Knowing the plays, knowing the counts, getting all the players on the same page, that kind of thing. And it's a shame that the one person that they could talk to is absolutely out of his mind, Bernie Kosar, who was, when he played football, he was not brain-addled at that point in his life. But there was a guy who, upon sight, could envision and see before the snap what the other teams might do and process it.
Well, he graduated early from Miami, back when that was a feat to graduate early.
Yep. But that's the smartest quarterback we ever had.
And Frank Ryan, Dr. Frank Ryan.
Frank Ryan. But then if you had Jim Brown and if you had Paul Warfield, you'd be
Brown
pretty
would
good.
make me look pretty fucking smart, too.
Yeah. But, again, Monken is going to do the best he can do with what little he has.
Psychedelic.
What the hell is that?
Whoa, I'm tripping. Now there he's back.
Psychedelia, man. What the fuck?
I
should have put that full screen. That'd be like... Oh, God. And then it's saying, on day 7 of practice, Watson showed glimpses of his former 3-time Pro Bowl form.
Glimpses, oh, God.
Playing with confidence, using his legs, and delivering the ball accurately and throwing touchdown passes. So he can do it 1 out of every 8 practices.
That's a glimpse. A glimpse is not very often.
Yeah. It's like a gleam.
So, would Would you like to see Deshaun Watson just on an alternate universe just be successful in Cleveland? Like have a second merge like a Geno
It's not
Smith?
going to happen. The fans won't let it happen because he's hitting the field with a bunch of young, inexperienced players, and they're not going to look good. The whole offensive line has been recreated and put together with people who've never played together before. I mean, it is an absolute recipe for failure, 100%. So it doesn't matter. If the team sucks, it may not be because of Deshaun Watson, but he will get the blame. And do you know why?
No.
Why?
He's that black son of a bitch who took advantage of all those virtuous women.
Oh, yeah. He did
That's the
Bill Cosby.
reason why. Because, it's just like trying to explain to somebody what the importance of medical science is when they're paying attention to a guy who has a worm, a brain parasite, who's the head of health in this country.
I know it's too early to call. Who's the starting quarterback for Cleveland in week 1? Do you go Deshaun or do you go
Deshaun? It's 100% going to be Deshaun Watson.
Yeah,
because they give him a chance to look good so we can get value for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
He don't want to play. Didn't you see the whole interview he gave? They asked him, are you okay with playing in Cleveland? He's like, oh, yeah. He was all smiley guy. No, he don't want to play here. He don't want to live here. These people urinated all over him. What in the hell would he want to play there? He wants to go anywhere else. Anywhere.
Yeah.
He'd go to Anchorage if they had an NFL franchise in Alaska before he'd want to play in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Come on.
So whenever you put that Browns uniform and those cameras turn on, you have to do like that horror movie where they smile, like the horror movie.
Oh, God.
Now just pretend you're happy. Okay, we're going to turn on the camera. Just pretend you're like it here.
I don't know why my messages are duping up. That's really bizarre.
The same thing that that Steven's camera was doing a minute ago.
Yeah.
Now Richard is saying Monken says more in one press conference than Stefanski said in his entire tenure. But in the end, this is going to bite him in the ass because
He'll stop doing that.
No, he won't stop doing it. He's going to be such a little bitch that the players are going to do it just to spite him. There is a balance that you have to have. You can't be wah, 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 wah. You can't be like that all the time. You got to give credit when credit's due, and you got to be able to deliver some discipline. But words and saying nasty things or whatever, it will not. You won't be able to assuage those words. You got to get people excited about what they're doing and playing correctly. And if they refuse to do so, you got to get rid of them. You got to not play them. It's not like you're going to sit in there in front of them and go, "You little pansy, what the hell's the matter with you?" And that's what Monken will do. He'll be reduced to being an angry little bitch.
Well, there you go. I can relate to that. So, anyway.
But I'm appreciative that he's not comatose like Stefanski was.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good thing.
Who in the NFL, which coach do you think actually handles the press the best? Who impresses you in their after-game interviews?
My favorite was Bill Belichick.
Ooh.
No, I'm kidding.
There's not a lot of people
Mumbles. Did you see my new wife's tits? Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're not hearing about her anymore.
I tell you something. Well, he got the job in North Carolina. I just thought she got those big eraser tip nipples, and I really kind of like that.
Oh, I got another question for Steve in here. Totally different vibe. What do you think of Madison Beer getting tackled with Justin Herbert on the field by that one guy? Did you see that?
No, I did not see that, but I saw them all looking like they were about to have sex on the field during practice.
Yeah, he was on the field with Justin Herbert. They were having a canoodle, and some linebacker came in and smashed into him.
When they were in practice, I saw it on ESPN. All the players were just running drills while he was just sitting in a they were about to have like some sort of like porno film going on there.
Well, did you see that Kirk Cousins got hit twice in practice?
Oh, because everybody loves Kirk.
Well, no, because they don't want to expose Mendoza, because Mendoza's like, they're going to throw me out of the country if I'm not any good,
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's the starting quarterback, but Max Crosby was
Bill? That big.
Jello. No.
Dr. Huxtable.
No, Max Crosby was putting pressure on, and he hit him twice, and one was in the arm.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean,
pinky.
But the thing that was weird about it was that, I mean, I think Crosby, keep an eye on him. He's going to be one of those guys who I think is going to end up with CTE.
Yeah. I'm afraid you're right there. He could have some tragedy news report on him in about 5 years' time.
Raiders coach Clint Kubiak said it's all a part of camp, but he wants the players to be smart when those situations occur. Those are two leaders on our team going at it. I mean, they were fighting. Obviously, fighting in a game, you throw a punch in a game, you're out of the game. So we got to be smart, And then tight end Michael Mayer said he liked that Cousins has the edge to call the guy out for doing it. But get this. Here's what Crosby said. This makes me, I would release him. I would release him immediately. Crosby has been that way since college.
Wow.
Ahead of training camp, Crosby said the coaching staff warned him about touching the quarterback. They are fully aware of the passion and intensity that Crosby brings to practice, and they knew that he could occasionally cross the line.
Wow.
There were times in college when he was at Eastern Michigan that Coach Chris Creighton had to kick him out of practice for being overly aggressive.
Wow.
Here's his quote. When you get out there and bullets are flying, I'm not thinking about not finishing the play. That's just not in my nature. That's something I've been dealing with my whole career. It's not easy. It's called brain damage. That's what it's called. You're going to end up beating up and killing your wife or children. You're a nuthead because you've taken too much punishment.
Yeah,
somebody has to open their eyes and pay attention to this.
Yeah, that's a cry for help. That is.
My God.
He's going to end up like Cam Scatterbo.
It's just, yeah.
Can I make a quick comment about the Hall of Fame game? Very quick.
Yeah.
I was trying to watch this, and it was actually like pretty entertaining because they were throwing the ball downfield and shit. I was not really interested in Melissa Stark and interviewing Luke Kuechly and Adam Vinatieri for like 5 minutes when half the game had gone by. It wasn't even. I had to turn it off.
Well, I think everybody turned it off because when the announcers before the game are saying you're not going to be seeing any of the real good players play.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Because of people changing the channel,
Yeah, but I mean, who wants to hear from Luke Kuechly for like 20 minutes? I mean, no one. I don't. I bet his wife doesn't either. But
And now I want to finish out the program with this. The thing that makes me absolutely bonkers.
Good
word.
Is that everybody is out for easy money because they're seeing criminal people in Washington making excessive amounts of money illegally. Everybody wants to get in the game. If you were watching the Guardians game against the Yankees before Jose Ramirez got that hamate injury, if you remember, his top hand was letting go of bats a lot. and more so than previous years, which makes me wonder if
He hurt before,
it was hurt before. But against the Yankees, he took a big swing and his bat went toward down the left field line, and it struck a woman.
Oh no!
And the look on Jose's face.
Oh yeah, it did his head in.
He really was like taken aback by the whole thing and apologetic and the whole 9 yards.
He'd be appalled by that.
And here's the outcome of the story. A New York Yankees fan is suing the team for $10 million after Guardian star Jose Ramirez's bat flew into the stands during a game and struck her in the head.
Oh.
Stephanie Dulock, 37, suffered a traumatic brain injury and other serious and permanent injuries, according to the lawsuit. Dulock accused the Yankees of negligence. Wait a minute. She had a traumatic brain injury.
How could she accuse anybody? It's a fair point, really.
That's a reliable witness.
And it says on the fucking ticket when I was a child that you're at the games at your own risk and you need to pay attention to the fucking play. And it did 40 years ago, 60 years ago.
All right. Dulock accused the Yankees of negligence, saying protective netting of uneven heights allowed Ramirez's bat to pass through and hit her.
Wow.
Her attorney, Tim Misney,
make them pay. No. You
no.
won't get that joke, Steve.
Her attorney, John Norensberg, I got the job for my son. This is a moneymaker. The Yankees will give up $10 million.
Yeah.
I mean, he wrote in the lawsuit that the incident was violent and entirely preventable. But Jose, violent. I mean,
he had no intention to do that in the slightest.
You could have according to you, Bronk, you can have an international competition, just like the Premier League, and it would just be bat throwing into a crowded audience watching a baseball game.
I'd pay to see that.
How many times would a bat land in such a way that it would crush somebody like that through that much opening in the netting? I mean, it would just
Maybe
be
once a week,
infinitesimal percentage.
Doesn't the
meanwhile,
netting help, though, right?
You always know when these guys are going, these attorneys, just like that idiot who did the with all the women with Deshaun Watson.
I can't even remember his name now, but I know who you mean.
Yeah, I wish he'd die. He's a worthless piece of shit. But they all go the same route. First they try to establish negligence, and the next thing is the woman who got hit, a healthcare executive, has been unable to return to work in the 2 months since the incident. And that the attorney said, stay at home. Don't go to Vogt. Don't go to Vogt. Whatever you do, don't do it.
Don't do it. You won't get your money because you traumatically. And I just put the name up.
Tony Busby. Yeah,
there you go.
How can we forget that?
Because we try.
We try.
Yeah. So she's suing and going to try to come up with $10 million. And she's like the women with the Deshaun Watson thing. And the attorneys will get half of whatever
happened. She'll end up getting
after taxes. She'll get her $2.5.
She'll get $500,000 in the settlement.
She'll get her $2.5 million.
And you know what she'll do? She'll get breast enlargements and become a star on the internet.
Yeah. She'll be.
Everyone's too happy nowadays, especially in the times we're living in.
Yeah.
Everybody is just going to go after the money, and it makes me want to vomit. It really does.
It does.
I mean,
I think it's ruined sports.
It's happenstance, something like that. In 1 in a million that it would happen.
Be an act of God,
So, and I'm sure Yankee Stadium's netting is no different than the other major league teams,
it's
really.
Probably better.
And that would be the argument. You see, if you were really trying to establish a case against somebody, It's like, well, look at how negligent they were compared to the other teams of the league.
Correct.
But, that's all a bunch of horseshit. Well, it's 18 after 5. You've gotten 1 hour and approximately 13 minutes or so of Moohead Radio, and I feel I've done my part.
Yeah, I want to apologize for being extra feisty today.
I like it. I was just goading you.
I was probably a bit extra. Well, I was looking at you while I was talking. Are you stupid? I mean, come on.
Who I haven't been on your show
I knew you were doing the Chevy Chase weekend update while Jane Curtin is doing your Jane, your ignorant slut routine. So that I wasn't going to fall for that shit.
Everything anybody has to say is of interest and of value, except Tony.
no, even the shit I say. But no, I sincerely suggest to everyone watching this program to look up promotion and relegation and how it works.
I'm sure people are going to rush to their laptops and do that immediately.
And understand how it works, and you can see how it could work in all of the American sports. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to point out is that there is now going to be an NBA Europe. So that could be interesting.
And while people are looking up relegation on their laptops,
look up NBA Europe as well.
Yeah, look up NBA Europe. But my advice is to find a suitable partner and exchange oral sex. That would be.
Yeah, but I know the people who listen to that program, and that's a non-starter. That's unfeasible. I mean, that ain't gonna happen. Look at Steven. He's not even showing his face now. I mean, it's just not gonna happen for these people. So.
How old are you, Steven? How old are you?
Well, I'm about to be 26.
26. See, he's in his prime.
Wow.
Not everybody is like gray-haired like me, who like watches the program.
2000? Born in 2000 or 1999?
He doesn't remember when he was born.
He doesn't remember he was born. He doesn't remember it.
That's
why I tell the doctor. I go to the doctor's office, right? They ask me for my birth date. And I go, well, it was so long ago, I can't remember.
Fair enough. But, the bottom line is that if I were to sum this whole thing together, I would say baseball is dull because the very thing that people use to, try to pump it up, the statistics are far worse. The managers are not getting the most out of the players, and there's going to be a walkout. There will be because the greed factor of the owners are going to take over the game. And the thing about football that is at least more predictable, or say less predictable, is that you never know. I mean, if Caleb Williams becomes a really big-time quarterback, an organization like the Bears will really profit from it. And, there will be some teams that are surprise teams, and it isn't the same people over and over again. The NBA has shown all of its cards, and it's Philadelphia, 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 Philadelphia. And it was Boston's idea to feed the bear so that they can get a present from the NBA of a bunch of draft picks, and you watch it happen. Boston will never suffer for very long, and the Cavaliers are in the dead pool. Right. They are in the dead pool. They can't go left. They can't go right. And when they said, I think we're going to run it back again, the reason they said that is that they have to run it back again, because if they were sitting there waiting for LeBron James to be honest and direct, they could have been waiting for the rest of their lives. They had nothing to lose in the LeBron story because they're in a straitjacket and they can't go anywhere. And while people are waiting, it's like, oh, are we going to get Peyton from the Suns? Or are we going to get, who's the other guy who they're, Kuminga? No, they're not going to get shit. They're going to run the whole thing back all over again, and you're going to see Schroeder out on the fucking floor again. You mark my words, the team is... They tried. It didn't work. I give Dan Gilbert credit, but the Harden thing, and after half of next season, Harden will be trying to get his way out of Cleveland. I guarantee it.
Oh yeah. That's pretty easy prediction. Ron Shane's got a really vital question in there, and I think you should answer it in the voice of Dickie V.
You know something? I kept thinking it was like police sirens, you know?
Oh yeah, for the WNBA, Cleveland Sirens.
Oh baby, I was saying, that's loud, that's bright, but I didn't know who they were. And if you don't know, who would be the best person? But if you don't know what sirens are, in Greek literature, and I love Greek, you can ask my girlfriend. Wait a minute.
Get Don Imus to talk about this.
A siren were a bunch of women, and they would lure ships into shore of rocky shores and create boating accidents.
Yep, the Odyssey, man.
Yeah, what a horrible name for a team. It's worse than Guardians. The Cleveland Sirens. It's like they're causing death.
Sounds like something off The Purge. You know the movie The Purge?
Yeah.
The siren to go off. All crime with murder will be legal.
The Cleveland Sirens. And and they were saying, we don't want to be called the Lady Cavaliers. And I don't blame them.
Yeah, that would be even worse. That would be an even worse name. But
I mean, let's be honest about it. There should be no gender references these days, because it's like the Lady Cavaliers, and if they go home and they put on dungarees and strap-ons, I got to be honest with you, that's not just lay off the gender thing, man. It's like, come up with a name like, if you were the Browns renaming their football team, you wouldn't go after, something that was either gender-based. You just come up with something better than the Guardians, I hope.
So the Cleveland Papooses is out of question.
The Cleveland Sirens, they go off.
It's terrible.
That's when they have a scoring instead of a cavalanche. The Sirens have gone off.
Yeah.
Remember that game last season where the siren never went off for like 20 minutes?
People in the stands were
they're like turning into scanners. Their head was exploding.
Yeah, it was like a Twilight Zone.
It was really bad.
Well, hopefully by your Monday show, baseball will be a little bit more interesting to talk about.
No, it won't.
Not after we've lost all the games to the White Sox. People are not going to be talking at all about the Guardians. You can call them the Indians again. You can call them Ray. You can call them Jay.
Or the Cleveland Spiders.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning into this edition of Moohead Radio. We will be back again on Monday, as we always are. Until then.
And for Guardian fans who are not aware, Arias was picked up by the Mets. So there you go. He was playing for the Mets during the past few days, and now he really is playing for the Mets. So there you go.
Yeah. He helped him out. What can I tell you?
All
right, everybody.
Shane. We love Ron Shane. Look what he's did.
I'm out of here. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, Slugline, hasta la vista, Pastor Heads. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.